Hi and welcome back. We are continuing my journey today preparing for a total hip replacement by discussing one of my faves, cardio exercise. I always try to make certain I have at least 3 days a week that I'm doing some sort of cardio, whether it's on land, whether it's in my spool, a swimming pool, whatever the case may be. I try to make certain to get at least 3 days a week of cardio exercise. Today I'm going to show you a few different ways that I'm doing my cardio to try and strengthen up my hip and get my body ready so that I can have a totally new hip. Cardio exercise means that you're increasing your heart rate, you're breathing harder, and I'm doing that primarily through using my legs. But it's the moving my legs part that's not so pretty. Every time I move, my right hip, my bad hip, is not a happy camper. Your hip is a ball and socket, and so when I move, I've that osteoarthritis, bone on bone in that hip is just grinding, and it is just plain painful. So here are a few ways I get my cardio exercise in. Nothing fancy, but I am breathing harder, my heart rate is elevated, and I'm working my legs. I always start off with a little bit of a warm-up, 3 to 5 minutes, just getting the blood pumping, the heart rate up, breathing a little heavier, nothing fancy, like I mentioned before. Then a few things I like to incorporate into my workouts. I do things like going forward, forward, and back, back, forward, forward, and back, back. If you have a step, you can step on a step and it would make it more challenging. If you're stepping forward with one foot, you're going to want to stop here and then step forward with the other foot. So make certain you start with both sides when you're doing these forward, forward, and back, back steps. And then we're back to just the regular average steps with that funky little limp I've got involved. Add your high steps, lift the knees up nice and high, nice and high. Pump your arms. Definitely doesn't feel good, but definitely is strengthening those muscles. And back to our little average steps we take. Then we can do what I call our grapevine in place. Take it forward and forward, forward, and back. Moving my arms. If I wanted to make it harder, I could hold weights in my hands. That would make it harder. If I'm doing it on that side, I'm also going to do it on the other side. Here we go. Back to that average. Then I like to do things moving in all directions. This time we're going to be going side to side. So I'm stepping to the side. Hello. I can take short quick. Or I can make them longer and slower. Back to those average steps. I do what I call a heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. So I've got one leg moving fast, but I'm balancing, doing isometric on the other leg. As we do on one side, we do on the other. Here we go. Heel toe, heel toe. And take it back to that walking. I will incorporate hamstrings into cardio, but I do them a little bit faster. Sometimes I'll have hand weights, and I'm leaning forward, coming up. Keep those knees straight. Make the action, the movement, come from the hamstrings and the glutes. And right back here. Don't want to forget about the lower part of the leg, so now we add heel raises. Heels, heels, heels. And toes, 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 toes. One more I want to share with you is one when you're thoroughly warmed up, which I am very well at this moment. I call them quick feet. All you're doing is doing super quick, super short steps, 20 seconds, as hard as you can, and then 10 seconds just casual movement. It's a different fuel system. It's an anaerobic exercise, and it's also engaging fast twitch muscle fibers. So we want to make certain and include those in the game too. Back to that average. In summary, cardio exercise needs to have a few elements. Number one, you need to be breathing harder than normal. You need to increase the heart rate. And the third thing you need to be doing is pushing yourself and working harder than normal. The definition of exercise is exactly that, working harder than normal. You also want to aim for cardio exercise 3 times a week, aiming for 20 to 30 minutes of continuous cardio, always starting out with about 3 to 5 minutes of warming up. And then you also want to make certain to try and work all sides of those legs, the front, the back, the inside, the outside, the lower legs. And you can accomplish that by moving forward, moving backwards, going from your sides to your sides, and changing the sizes of those steps. Sometimes doing smaller, quicker steps, other times going for bigger, slower steps. All of those changes are great ways to change the focus of how your legs are working and to really make them get the maximum benefit. Final thing you want to remember is anytime that you finish a workout, you should always finish up by going and doing a little bit of stretch. It's the first step in the recovery process. So with that said, my friends, I'm going to go get my stretch on.